So, first of all, I would like to welcome everybody. And last 2 days, we talked about taking refuge in Buddha and taking refuge in Dharma. And today we are going to talk a little bit about taking refuge in the Sangha. Sangha, especially when we talk about, there are two kinds of Sanghas, I think. When we talk about the Sangha that is taking refuge, then that Sangha is mostly talking about what we call as Arya Sangha. Arya Sangha is actually, although the word Sangha, the Sanskrit word Sangha, which is now also in Hindi and any other languages, is mostly means kind of a group, assembly, a group of people. In India, many political parties are also called so and so Sangha. And also Buddhist, the Buddhist Sangha is, usually referred to monks and nuns, and the practitioners. Sometimes people also a little bit, I don't know, it is not totally wrongly, but they refer to Sangha. They think that it only refers to like a monastic monks and nuns Sangha. But from Buddha's kind of teachings, sutras, then Sangha, Buddha's Sangha, he said, is he talks about the 4 legs of Sangha, like 4. That is the bhikkhus, bhikkhunis, like ordained male Sangha and ordained female Sangha. And then, lay Sangha, like householders, upasakas and upasikas. So, kind of householder male Sangha and householder female Sangha. He talks about the 4 Sanghas. And Buddha said again and again that if any place, if these all 4 Sanghas are present, if there are 4 Sanghas are there, then you can say that that is where Buddha Dharma is established. Any place there are a presence of these 4 Sanghas, then you can say that Bodhidharma is fully established there. So he talks about these 4 Sanghas, and if any of these 4 Sanghas are not present, then it is not, that is what he says. You cannot say that the Dharma is, Buddha Dharma is fully established. That's what Buddha said. But Sangha is also, especially I think when we talk about taking refuge in the Sangha, that Sangha is referred to kind of different beings, people at the different stages of realization. So in that Sangha, even Buddha is included. It is said that when Buddha became enlightened, Buddha Shakyamuni became enlightened, then it is said that there was a sound in the sky which said that now there is one Sangha on this earth. And when Buddha gave the Dharma Chakra, the first Dharma Chakra, to his 5 first disciples at Sarnath, and when they saw the truth, when they realized the certain stage of realization, you can say maybe when they become arhats, you can say, then there was another sound in this space, and said now there is 6 Sangha on this earth. So what this shows is that, a person or the people, who actually experiences the result of the Dharma, or sees the truth and experiences the realization, not necessarily complete Buddha, but any different levels of realization, then it is called a Sangha. So therefore, generally, when we talk about going refuge to the Sangha, it's mostly talks about that Sangha, because that's called Arya Sangha, the holy Sangha, the real Sangha, this, the authentic, Sangha. Then, as we already discussed, a group of people, who got ordained either as bhikkhus or bhikkhunis or, shamanaras and things like that, both male and female, as well as, genuine Dharma practitioners of household, community, who are, observing any one of the, categories of vows, like upasaka, 5 precepts or things like that, then they are also called Sangha, but there has to be a group. Usually, it is said that if there are there are 4 or more bhikkhunis or bhikkhus together, you can call it a Sangha. Each person is not really called a Sangha, a group of, people trying to study and practice Dharma together is called a Sangha. This Sangha could be, what can you say? Not necessarily, having any kind of stages of realization, but they are genuinely practicing Dharma and studying Dharma. So therefore they are called Sangha. So the Sangha is very important in Buddhism. Even that Sangha is very important because when Buddha Sakyamuni passed away or was passing away, people asked him, who is your regent? Who is going to, whom are you going to enthrone or give over the authority of your Dharma teachings? And who will be the one who will hold the position of the leader of your, of your teachings that you have started, of your, Then Buddha said, there is nobody. I don't appoint anyone as my regent or who would replace me and become the only authority or the person who would do everything or in charge of everything. Because my gift or my heritage is Dharma. And Dharma is kept by the Sangha. Not one person, but a group of people that I have appointed, but the Sangha. Sangha keeps the Dharma. And Dharma is the main thing. And if you have any questions, refer to the Dharma. Because in the Dharma that I've taught all my life, I've taught everything, all the, things how you should do and not do, and, all the, 3 Pitakas, how to live life, like Vinaya, then the sutras and Abhidhamma, the philosophical discussions and everything I've taught. So you refer to the Dharma. And Dharma has to be kept by the Sangha. Anybody, any followers, any people, doesn't matter who they are, of whatever, caste or creed or gender or whatever they are, when they receive the teachings of the Dharma, they study, they understand, and then they practice, and whoever can actually, embody the Dharma, then those are my Sangha, and they, they can continue this, continuously teach and learn And that's how the Dharma will go on, centuries and centuries. And that is my heritage or my teachings. So therefore, Sangha is people who, who receive the teachings of the Dharma, who understand the Dharma and who genuinely practice, and who, if, ideally, who have some experience of the Dharma, some realization of the Dharma. And then it becomes the Aya Sangha, the real Sangha. If not that much experience and the realization, then it's the ordinary Sangha. So therefore, as we talked about before, this Dharma is the most important thing, because that's the teaching of the Buddha, that's the experience of the Buddha, that's what we need, that's the, the way, the path, the instructions on how to, how to liberate ourselves, how to transform ourselves. So that's the main thing. And so how do we learn Dharma? How do we get Dharma? How do we find Dharma? At the moment, since we cannot, or we do not have fully enlightened Buddha, or a Buddha who actually started, there are two kinds of, of course, there can be people who are, who have completely realizations as much as, or even at par with the Buddha. There can be people like that, but they are not exactly, with the, at the same like Bodhisattva Muni, who has, started the whole teaching of Dharma. So therefore, as we say, as it is predicted in the Buddhist point of view by the Buddhas, in this world, on this earth, there will be 1,000 Buddhas. So, from the Buddhist point of view, the world is not going to end soon. There will be ups and downs. There will be lots of ups and lots of downs, but the world is not going to get destroyed. The humanity is not going to be ended. There will be a long, long time to go, because we are at this moment only, the fourth Buddha. Bodhisattva Muni is supposed to be the fourth Buddha out of 1,000 Buddhas. So therefore, we have 996 Buddhas yet to come. And that is a very long time, because, one Buddha's era is when some, when there is no, no Dharma, there's no Buddha Dharma, then, somebody becomes enlightened and he gives teachings and start, a Dharma, start his kind of Dharma. And that Dharma then goes on for centuries after century, many, many thousands of years, until it kind of becomes it becomes extinct. It is finished. Nobody is there who following the Dharma. It's totally gone. And then there's some time, when there is no Dharma, and then another Buddha comes and then starts to teach, and then the whole thing starts again. So for one era of a Buddha, it is a long, long time. It's many thousands of years. So therefore, and then some Buddha's era is longer than others. Sometimes it's said the last Buddha's era is almost as long as all others put together. So therefore, there's lots of time. Maybe this is not the point here that I have to discuss, but, this is the Buddhist way of, understanding. Then the Sangha is very important, because during that time when Buddha is not alive, then the Sangha carries the Dharma. So we need to rely on the Sangha to find the Buddha or Dharma, or to get the teachings of the Dharma. So therefore, Sangha is people from whom we learn the Dharma, and not just learn kind of intellectually, but experientially. Because Dharma is not just a set of information. Dharma is a living thing, So, like, when we talk about something that is living, that means there is people who not only, kind of read or write or, give information, but who have experience, kind of who live that, who integrate that instructions in yourself. So that's a living Dharma. So therefore, the Sangha is people who have that, people who not only studied and have the information, but also tries to, follow those instructions, try to live this, try to meditate and practice and, integrate with their life. And that's the Sangha. So therefore, Sangha becomes very important. And a good Sangha, a pure Sangha, a real Sangha is extremely, regarded as extremely important, extremely, what can you say? Most valuable thing, because then we can truly be inspired by them. They can become our role model, and then, they can not only teach us, but also guide us and become our role model. So therefore, the Sangha is important. Now, how do you take refuge in the Sangha? Now, taking refuge in the Sangha is that, first, as we talked before, we need to, we need to say that I want to transform myself. I want to become better. I want to, solve my problems. I want to, be free from suffering and pain and causes of that. And, find kind of a solution to all my problems and learn how to do that. And what we can call, in short, from Buddhist point of view, I want to become, enlightened. And in order to do that, now I have to, even Buddha cannot just give it to you. Buddha can help, Buddha can bless, Buddha can, do lots of things, but cannot just, cannot do it on you. We need ourselves to be open. There is this example that sometimes we say that the Buddha has all the capacities to liberate somebody and change somebody and transform somebody. And then why everybody is not transformed? Because the Buddha has that capacity. Why doesn't he do it? Is it because he doesn't have, he doesn't have the willpower, he doesn't have the courage, he doesn't have the compassion, he doesn't want or like to do this for everybody. It's not that, If Buddhas don't want to help, then he is no longer Buddha from Buddhist point of view, because then he doesn't have accomplished, or he doesn't have completely developed his compassion, so therefore he's no longer Buddha. But then why it doesn't happen? Because, it's different whether somebody has the capacity to do it and that everything is done. The example usually is given the sun. The sun has the capacity to remove or get rid of all the darkness. Nobody can say that the sun cannot dispel the darkness, because whenever there is sun or wherever there is sun or sunlight, there can't be any darkness. The sun has the ability and capacity, and wherever the sun is, naturally the darkness can never stay there. That is there. You cannot deny that. But does that mean that there is no darkness ever? It's not true. There's lots of darkness, because if there is some place like a cave, in the northern hemisphere, we say the cave, facing the north. If there is a cave which is facing northwards, the sun cannot enter there. So therefore darkness cannot be dispelled by the sun, because that's not because the sun doesn't have the capacity to dispel darkness, but the cave is in such a situation that the sun rays doesn't penetrate there. So in the same way, if people like us, if we do not, if we do not want, or if we do not have interest, or if we do not, open ourselves to the Dharma, to the teachings, to the influence, to the inspiration, to the blessings of the Buddha, then the Buddha's, help cannot be reached to us. So therefore, in short, we need to do something, because everything works interdependently. Nothing works, on its own, or only one-sidedly. And this is, as you know, one of the main main philosophies or main contents of the Buddha or Buddhism is that everything is interdependent. So therefore, we need to. So therefore, the Dharma, we need Dharma. We need to, learn Dharma. We need to, understand Dharma, and we need to practice Dharma, and we need to have, if that is done, then anybody can be helped by that Dharma. All the blessings of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas can enter into us, and they can always help us. We just need to have. So Dharma is very important, because that's the real kind of way. But then we need to have an access to the Dharma. We need to learn Dharma. And without the Sangha, we cannot get it. We can probably get a book, but that book alone, without Sangha, without some explanation, without some, practical kind of, teachings or guidance, we might not understand fully. And even if we understand, we don't know how to. Of course, some people can do that. There is also we talk about people, or even a kind of I don't think you can call it a community, but it's, a kind of a category of people called Pratyeka Buddhas. Usually, people are, categorized into 3 different types: Sarvakayana, Pratyeka Buddhayana, and Bodhisattvayana. This kind of 3 different vehicles. Sarvakayana type is people, who are like more kind of a group people, who like to follow, who like to, be in the group, and somebody leads, and then they want to follow that lead, and who would like to listen and follow that instructions, and then this kind of people are called Sarvakayana people. And then there is a Pratyeka Buddha type of people. That is this kind of people who are very independent, independent kind of characteristic. They don't want to follow anybody. They're very individualistic kind of people, very independent, and thinking themselves. If somebody tries to lead you, he doesn't want to, or she doesn't want to follow anybody, but want to investigate, or find himself or herself, and therefore very, very independently thinking people. Therefore, independent but lonely kind of, not in a group. And some of these people, Buddha said, they don't want teachers. They don't want anybody to teach them. They want to find out themselves. And some people like that can actually find Dharma themselves, and can, because Dharma is the truth. So whoever finds it, that's it. And they can practice themselves, that can actually become, enlighten themselves. They can become arhats and things like that. But those people usually don't teach. So sometimes people don't even know that they are arhats until they die, and then they die in very miraculous way and things like that. And so therefore, then only they say, oh, he must have been a great somebody like that. And there are lots of this kind of people, and this kind of people, this kind of, Sangha, you can call it Sangha also in a way, can be even when there is no Dharma. In dark ages, when there is absolutely no Dharma, also this Pratyeka Buddha type of people can be enlightened. But they don't, they don't teach too much. They don't give instructions. They don't make a Sangha. They don't like to kind of create a Sangha. So therefore they don't, so this is one type. And then the Bodhisattva type. The Bodhisattva type is those people who are not only like, who wants to seek, who wants to find, answers to the questions like how, what is the life and how to get rid of all our sufferings and pain and problems, and then try to find that, but not just, for himself or herself. They want it to help other beings. They want to, they are very courageous people. They are very kind and compassionate people. They want to help lots of people. They want to bring everybody to that. So these are the kind of very courageous, very compassionate, very, open kind of hearted people. They are the Bodhisattva type of people. So therefore, these kind of three different categories of people are there. And then Buddha gave teachings that is suitable for all these different kind of people. Although for the Pratyeka Buddha type, there is not so much there because there's so much is not necessary for them. They are just sufficient in themselves. So therefore, how do we, take refuge in Dharma, in the Sangha, is that we would like to, find genuine Sangha, a Sangha who is, truly has, truly, a genuine lineage. That was why lineage becomes important in Buddhism, because, if there is somebody who says, I know Dharma, then how do we know that he knows Dharma? We can find out from where did you study? Under whom did you study? Together with which people did you study? In which Sangha, in which place, in which monastery, in which institute did you study? And then where did your teacher study? And what did you study? And what did your teacher taught you? And, and then what is your teacher, teacher studied and things like that. And then it goes back. If you find a genuine kind of history or lineage up to, authentic masters, great masters, or really realized masters, and up to the Buddha, then you know that at least there's a lineage. There is the teaching comes from a proper channel, and whether you have how much you have studied, how much you have integrated it in your life or not, that you have to independently, find out. But you know that there is a kind of he studied kind of under the kind of good system or lineage and things like that. So therefore, then of course you have to understand that how this person is, whether this person or these people are practicing according to the Dharma or not. It's the Dharma is the main criteria of understanding the Sangha, because if the Sangha is living according to the Dharma, then the Sangha is proper. If the Sangha is not living according to the Dharma, then it's not proper Sangha. So therefore, when going refuge to the Sangha is that I would study the Dharma from this kind of genuine Sangha, and I would be inspired by them. I would take them as my, role model, and I allow myself to be influenced by this Sangha. And when I say Sangha, it's not necessary that it is only the Sangha that is around you, like a Dharma center. I can be influenced by, people of the past, great beings, great teachers of the past, or people who are living not necessarily next to you or in your village or in your country, but far away also, because from Buddhist point of view, how you are associated, how much you are associated with good influence or not good influence is not that you are closer or not closer, or you are too much kind of in contact or not in contact. It's not that. How I am influenced is that how I what can you say? How I appreciate that. See, if I appreciate and I look up as an ideal to certain people, then I am influenced by that. And I can learn from them, That's why sometimes, we are reading biographies of certain people, certain masters, and that can inspire us and then, teach us how to deal with our own situations. And that is our Sangha, That's why, in Buddhist traditions, when we write the biographies of great masters, we don't write everything that happened to that person. We don't write mostly all negative things. We just don't write because that's not something we can learn from. We write what we can learn from, and what can influence us in a good way. So therefore, most of the biographies of the lamas are, what kind of teachings they received and what kind of practice they did and what kind of, all these kind of things. Of course, there is the life general, but more emphasis is on that, So therefore, that's called namtar. Namtar means like the story of liberation. The story of liberation. That's so. Therefore, for many modern people, the biographies of Buddhist masters are not interesting because there's no struggle. Well, there's some kind of struggle, but not like usual, worldly things and not too much of that. But anyway, that's not the point here. So therefore, when I say that, I would like to, I want to receive teaching, not only teaching, but, the instructions and the, example and the positive influence, and allow myself to be influenced in a positive way, then that's taking refuge in the Sangha. So therefore, if we do these three things, we take refuge in the Buddha, we take refuge in the Dharma, we take refuge in the Sangha. That's what we call practicing Buddhism, actually. There's actually, everything is included in that, because in there is your motivation, your direction, your studies, your practice, how you live your life, what kind of people or communities or you can kind of you follow or you are guided with, and then that's the whole kind of Dharma practice. So therefore, taking refuge in the Sangha, together with taking refuge in the Buddha and Dharma, constitutes the, it's the whole thing. Sometimes we say that, we start with taking refuge, but in a way, we just not only start with taking refuge. Taking refuge is kind of the whole practice, that's why at least Dipankara, the great, Bengal master who was brought to Tibet to kind of re-establish Buddhism in Tibet after it was destroyed by King Langdharma. He spent most of his time in teaching about refuge. And some people told him that, maybe you should teach other things, because people are starting to call you the refuge lama, because you only teach refuge. So you are, he's just refuge lama. He's only talking about refuge. Then Dipankara became very happy. He said, that's great. He said, that's the most, highest tribute that people can bring me, because in Buddhism, we have nothing else but the refuge, and in refuge, everything is included. So if I'm called refuge lama, that's great. There's no problem with that. So this is, so that's Sangha. And now here, just to, this part, Kunchu Jiten, the remembrance of the reminders of the three jewels, the part about Sangha is not very long, so I'll just go through the quickly. Tepachim began to the Leprashupa as of the Sangha of the great vehicle, when you're saying Tepa Chimbo, or the Tepa is like, Tepa means vehicle. Vehicle, here it's translated as vehicle, but Tepa actually means, like, yeah, it's vehicle is okay, but like, the elephant is what we call like Tepa Chembo, because he can carry a lot, Elephant can carry, big loads. Therefore, he is a great vehicle, a great kind of carrier of great loads. So when you're talking about Tepa Chembo, it's also written here. It's something that you can bring together with lots of people, and that would be of great help to lots of people. That's Tepa Chenpo. That's why it's called Great Vehicle. So Gendun is the Sangha. The Gendun in the Sangha, as I explained Sangha from this Sanskrit word Sangha. That Sanskrit word Sangha was translated into Tibetan as Gendun, which doesn't mean, when you say Sangha, it means any group actually. But when you say Gendun, it means only this kind of Sangha, like, Dharma Sangha. Because Gendun is Gewala Dunpa, the one who is motivated towards positive and who wants to, go into the journey of accumulating more positive actions and positive deeds. That's Gendun. So therefore, Gendun is, it is the translation of Sangha, but it's a more meaningful translation of Sangha. It's the Sanskrit word, like Ratna, is translated as Kunchok. So Ratna refers to lots of other things, but Kunchok refers to only, this Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha-like things. So in the same way, Sangha can refer to lots of things. Even like union is Sangha. Like union of, kind of union of laborers is also, it can be a Sangha, but this Gendun is not the same meaning, it's different. So they enter Leprachupa, well entering, or entering into in a good way. Now Leprachupa is then Tamburishupa, Riparishupa, Tamburishupa. They enter with awareness, they enter straightforwardly. These three are said to be representing the, the Shila, the Samadhi, and wisdom, Pragya. Leprachupa is that they enter into, enter means, kind of engage into a positive way of life, like living in a way which is not creating any harm or trouble to others and yourself. That's the Shila. Shila is not harming, not creating any problems for anybody. The Shila. And then, meditation is to enter into the awareness, to make yourself more aware, and clarity of the mind. So that's the meditation. And then Tamburishupa means entering straightforwardly. That is when you have these two, then your mind becomes more kind of you have the wisdom, you understand how things really are. So you become not kind of you don't need to be what can you say, going the wrong way and then in this way, but straight, because we are so clear. So therefore it's a wisdom. So because of these three, usually we said that in the Buddhist practice, actually these are the three main practices: Shila, meditation, and wisdom. the main practice, main trainings. We call it, Lapasun, the 3 trainings. When we try to address a monk or a good practitioner, especially monks, and nuns, we always write Lapsun Jenze, in the letter, decorated by the 3 trainings, and then like Gelongma, Lama, Rinchen, Lapsun Jenze, Gelongma, Lama, Rinchen, or something like that. Then that means like, that's the highest to say, this is, so these are the. Then Tumbar Hyupa means entering harmoniously, harmony is regarded as very important in Buddhism. When there is harmony, everything is good. When there is no harmony, then there is a problem. Even in a body, if all the elements of our body are functioning in harmony, then we are healthy. If something is not in harmony, then we get sick, and it becomes much more distorted, then we die. So in every community, the harmony is important, so therefore the Sangha has to be in harmony. And the harmony, also they have the same goal, they have the same kind of way of living or practicing, and then, with the interdependently they live, and they try to be kind and compassionate and nice to each other. That is, Tumbar Hyupa. If that is like that, then it says, Talmojari, they are worthy of veneration with palms joined together. That kind of Sangha is worthy of our prostrations, of folding our hands to in respect. They're worthy of receiving prostrations. Sunam Jipaljishi, they are the glorious field of merit, So that Sangha becomes, not only, they are good, but they become, if we make connection with them, that also gives us positive results. It will give us more positive influence, and so therefore, Sonamchi Paljishi, offering to them brings great purification. They are an object of generosity. They are in every way the greatest object of generosity. So that's all in this. So therefore, that's the Sangha. And last night I didn't have the time to talk about Dakini or Kando. Usually, when we say Kando, or the Dakini, of course, again, in the same way, in Indian language, Dakini can mean many different things. Dakini can also mean witches. Dakini can mean a little bit like people like a little bit witch kind of thing, or in India, even now, if you say somebody, you are a Dakini, they will beat you up because they think that you are saying you are a bitch. So don't say to anybody in India, to Indians, that you are Dakini. They will not understand it. But Dakini also, means from this from the Vajrayana point of view, Dakini is, it's not just a female, although, sometimes we say Daka and Dakini, two different things. Sometimes the Dakini can mean for both. But when you talk about refuge, then Dakini is people who are, practicing or experiencing, especially the Vajrayana Dharma, but Dharma, have the experience. That's Dakini, So sometimes when we say that, this is, if there is a kind of a real, a very deep and very kind of, what can you say, very effective teaching, then you call it, Daki Shalong, the warm breath of Dakini. Means that it comes from the, it's the instruction of somebody who have a real, true experience, that's called, Daki Shalong, Shalong Tolewa, things like that. So therefore, in this, when we talk about Lama, Yedam, and Kando, then Kando is more about the Sangha, but a realized Sangha. That's why, when we talk about the, Guru Rinpoche, 7-line prayer, Korden Kando Mabeko, is surrounded by a great number of Dakinis. And sometimes we think that he's surrounded by lots of dancing kind of Dakinis, but it's not only that. It means, it's surrounded by many, the countless kind of Sangha people, the people who practice and experience Dharma beings, not necessarily only females. So Dakini is that. And sometimes we also include that Dakinis and Dharma Palas, Dharma protectors and things like that. That's also we take a little bit part of the Sangha. So anyway, so this is, and then Dakini also, if you look, there are also different kind of explanations of Dakini. There Ngāshīchī Dakini, Shinsīchī Dakini, Dakini that's born of mantras, Dakinis that born of that's coming out of kind of power places, Dakinis that come from the Dharmata, the enlightenment. So a little bit different things, but these are a little bit complicated. So I think I don't want to go into that because I don't understand much myself. So I think I will stop here about the 3 refuges and 3 routes, because that's all I can say at the moment. Any questions so far?
Rinpoche?
Yes.
Someone asked if you could give the lung of the sutra.
Oh, actually I read it, so maybe that's enough, but I can read it again, there's no problem. This is very important sutra, and very, it's recited again and again in, all the time. And this sutra is also in the Kaju Melam. Things like the translation that I've used is from Lotsawa House, but it's also in the Kaju Melam translation. Papa Kunjus Jesu Tempa Keshavi do yuso yagarkita ayarana traya Anusmriti Sutra pekata papa conchosam chesitem tanjia malachans. Duda sunji tanden ten yamana manyo do bazu sunji repanda chasi de bateri kemanje de jema seven de kalosha lana me. La do manan de bazo yane de yeke sono dog jentam ba give sewan chep mazawa zebe rada jema sonam jitenam ji peji zubono je tepan senam je me toji ba sheyo rembartam batana tona mundaba me ba de mama. Number Gava Hiras, Menem, Papa, Nala, Zavan, Passenger, Taji, Temba, Jessamana, Papi Consana, Jelbo, Yang de Butonji and Joanna, Jetebe, Podme, Papa, some Jimasha. So number W, Kashi, Tavi, Chu, Mihipa, Consomba, Debata, Magu, Bazuta, Kenya, Magu, Bazumata, the Mandibanda, number. Pombo Telera, the number of a common, the Demba, Shenchen, Damba, Dabana, Kent, Chepa, also the Mata, number. Sepali, Trova, Chuli, Gava, Yehi, also Doba, Deba, the Mahop, Tata Jomisoni, Yehi, Yangele de Balam, Neba, Yonta, Banjatala, Neba, Sajatangela, Zebisala, Yuba, Suji, Yonta Pano, so Tomich and Tomagava, Padagava, Tamagava, Tamagava, Dipa, Yosupa, Yosuta. You also show a Chandin, Chile, person, Yonta, Toma, never, but Ticheva, Vanya, the Tomala to Yakavana, Jesuzo, Pritchava, Chandin, Jisu, between the Vala, Pretemba. To be shown to Dondrovaji, Madame, Nevada, Batemba, Bajavachiba, Tempachima, Tombo Hupa, Tomba, Tamaja, visit Java, Shaja, visit Java, Sona Japachi, you say much. Yemen is Javakan, Yemen is Java, Chambo. Okay, thank you.
Rinpoche, I have one question.
Okay.
About the Dakini, there are many yidams which are Dakinis, and then on the protectors there is many like Mahakala, and so it's not really Dakini also, so a little bit some confusion.
Usually, when we talk about the Guru Deva Dakini and taking refuge, the Dakini, it seems it's referring to more in a general way the Dakini, that is like Dakas, Dakinis, and not only even this Dakas and Dakinis category, but they like what can you say? They realized kind of Vajrayana Sangha. Then in that, then there is, there's like in the Idam, then we have lots of, different kind of Idams, of course, in one mandala of deities. Now, Idam is also, as I tried to explain yesterday, Idam is not also, like we generally most people think that say like Kalachakra. So then there's Kalachakra. Idam is the the one with so many heads and so many hands and things like that. But that is not just, when we refer to the Idam, it's not just that, what can you say, that deity. It refers to the whole practice, the whole of Tantra, all of, and in that there's lots of, different kind of meditation techniques, different kind of, practices, including, like pranayama practices, mantra practices, all kind of practices there. All this together is the, Idam. Because, but then in generally kind of, when we talk about, then there is kind of male practices, female practices, or female, what can you say, visualizations, or male visualizations, and union visualizations, and all different kind of group visualizations and things like that. And sometimes this yumka, we call it yumka, like Vajrayogini, then you call it Dakini. But you know, it's not just that is one way of calling it. And then you know, Mahakala, and there are lots of Dharmapalas. And so Dharmapalas, you know, that is also we categorize Dharmapalas as, I think I've mentioned, into, you know, kind of enlightened Dharmapalas. And they, enlightened Dharmapalas can go into the Yidam also, and can go into the, you know, the enlightened Dakinis also. And then, you know, the worldly Dharmapalas are sometimes just, you know, any kind of spirits who are, you know, who have become protectors of the Dharma, or who become positive energies, then they are protectors. And then, like Dakini also, as we said before, you know, there are also Dakinis, which are not really, you know, not only, you know, Dakinis can be not only, they are kind of protected Dakinis, they can be even Dakinis with, you know, not so much positive, but a little bit negative energy also. And of course, then there is Dakinis of wisdom, Dakinis, you can call it also. So this, you know, is a little bit complicated, and there's too many categories. But this is something that is a little bit confusing, because when we talk about taking refuge, and then you know, there we have to a little bit categorize, you know, take out these other things, you know, other Dakinis in the refuge Dakini, I think.
Thank you very much. Thank you for nice teaching, Rinpoche.
I think there is no more question. So, you have a question, Caesar? You have to, what you call it?
Microphone.
You have to
Unmute.
Unmute.
Le petit micro en gauche en bas.
Est-ce qu'il avait une question?
Oui. Tu as un petit micro sur ton écran en bas.
Maybe he doesn't have maybe he doesn't have a question.
Il n'a pas l'air.
Okay. Écoute,
Good evening. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Can you hear me? Yes. It's a question about, maybe, was it the day before, the first day, there was this translation about Rasna. I didn't get I didn't get it really. I was looking to the, how do you call, YouTube recording, and you spoke about Ratna and the translation, and the translation in the Tibetan. There was a slight difference. Yeah, that was my question. What is the difference between Ratna and,
Ratna is, Ratna is generally Ratna means like in Indian languages, it could mean precious. It could mean like gold is also Ratna. Gold, silver, and diamond, and all these kind of things are Ratna. So Ratna can mean like precious, so that was, if you literally translate into Tibetan Ratna, it would be Rinchen. Rinchen would be the literal translation of Ratna. But they translated not as Rinchen, but Kunchuk. Kunchuk is rare, very rare. Chok means supreme, rare. And that Kunchuk became a word in itself, which only referred to like not all the precious stones and precious things, but only to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. So that was what I was trying to explain.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Rinpoche.
Yeah.
I understand more clear now.
Okay. So thank you very much. And so can we...
Raise their hand.
Yes, it's me. Ciao, Shilpen.
Okay, hello.
Hi. Hi, Rinpoche. My name is Maurizio. I'm at Sarnieling at Beaumont. And I just wanted to ask a question because I'm taking Refuge the 18th and the 19th at Bruxelles. I wanted just a curiosity as an Italian culture person, because I have these kind of thoughts in my head where I try to think, to speak to my Buddha inside, and I'm trying to ask to myself if he understands all languages, in fact. Can we speak to Buddha in any kind of language, or is there
I think so. I think so.
There is no worry.
Yes, you can speak in any language you want.
All right, that's very good.
And firstly, if it is the Buddha within you, then that Buddha knows your language also.
Right.
Yeah. But usually, from Buddhist point of view, Buddha is supposed to understand anybody's mind, not necessarily you have to speak. Yeah. So therefore, language is not an issue.
Yes.
Yes.
But everything comes from a thought. So.
Yes. If somebody knows your mind, then you know everything. Yeah.
So we can become a mind readers.
Yes, if you become a little bit more, not even Buddha, but a little bit more clear of your mind, then it is said that you can read people's minds. But yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for clearing my heads up.
But all of us can read a little bit other people's mind, because it's there in their face and in their eyes, and in their body.
There are signals everywhere.
Yes.
Anyway, it's been a pleasure having you
Thank you so much.
tonight, and hope to see you tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.